Need you guys to press a 1 in the chat if you can hear me clearly. Press a 1 in the chat if you can hear me clearly. So first and foremost, make sure you guys are supporting the show. You can do so by hitting the Cash App or the Super Chat. Cash App, $ the Angryman. Cash App, $ fuel the anger. It is pinned to the top of the chat. If you want to be part of the Beano roll call, all you got to do is drop 20 or more. We will read your messages first. If you want your message read immediately, you got to be a sponsor or a super sponsor. If you want to be a sponsor, all you got to do is drop 100 or more. If you want to be a super sponsor, all you got to do is drop 500 or more. It is greatly appreciated. Y'all already know we need 10 people off the rip to get us started. So put some green on the screen and hit the Cash App in between. You feel me? So, as you all know, there's a lot of jerks on YouTube. There's a lot of haters on YouTube. Now, for some reason, these niggas really don't like me. I'm talking about they hate to see me win. They hate to see me shine. They hate to see anybody give me props. They hate to see anybody agree with me. Now, the other day, an individual tried to take his hate to the next level. I'm talking about this individual tried to take his hate to a level so high. I don't think I ever witnessed that level of hate before, right? And I don't know, maybe it's because people love to get on here and gas this nigga up, telling him he handsome and shit, right? I got news for you, nigga. You ain't the only nigga that gets called handsome. You're not the only nigga. You're not the only cocky, conceited, arrogant nigga up here. You feel me? But I decided to do something to prove a point. I decided to do something to prove a point, and I'm about to prove the point right now. I want everybody in the chat right now, everybody that's in here right now, I want you to comprehend. I want you to picture this in your mind. A goofy ass nigga this past week told me I look like I'm fucking 60 years old. That's what the nigga said. 60 years old. Now, I'm smart enough to know why he said that shit. Because anytime a nigga got gray hair, A motherfucker want to call a nigga old and shit. Right? Now, if you look at my face right now, because I don't have the whole gray beard right now, do I look like I'm 60 fucking years old? Matter of fact, this is what the nigga said. You and Trey the same age. Yeah, no shit. So here's the thing. Here's the reality to that nigga. Here's the reality to that nigga, right? The reality is the only reason that you could say, Angryman, you look like you 60 is based on my gray hair, not based on my face. Because I don't got no 60-year-old face. I don't even got a 50-year-old face. I'll be 50 in 3 years. I don't even got a 50-year-old face. Now, if I cut this beard off, I'll look super young if I cut this beard off. But see, the reason why I got an issue with what this nigga said is because he was purposely being disingenuous because he couldn't handle a back and forth with me. And so he tried to say some shit that he thought was going to get a laugh. But here's the reality, my nigga, in case you watch. The only way that you could be like, Angryman, you look 60 years old, is if I got a full gray beard. But all I got to do is dye my beard, and I don't look nowhere near my freaking age. But when it come to you being a lame nigga, there ain't no dye for that. There ain't no remedy for that. There ain't nothing you can, they don't make just for men or just for lame niggas. They don't make just for lame niggas. Because ain't nothing on this planet gonna unlame you, my nigga. Nigga probably like, yo, Angryman still talking about that? Nigga, I ain't gonna never forget that shit. Ever. I ain't gonna never forget that shit. Because it's a reminder of the links that niggas go to try to shit on me. Niggas go extra hard in the paint to try to shit on me. But anyway, we got a great topic for you guys today. Because on that same panel, I think it was the same panel, I could be wrong. On the same panel, a question was presented. A question was presented about whether or not women meet men's expectations in the modern day. Okay. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the answer that they gave was crazy. The answer that they gave was crazy, and I plan on dissecting it today. But I'm not gonna get fooled again. Before we even get to that, we got to go back to the old format. We need at least 10 people to participate in the Beano roll call. So far, we got 2. No, excuse me, I'm bugging. We got 4. We got 4 people on the Beano roll call. We need 6 more people to participate in the Beano roll call, because we're going to do the Beano roll call first. We're going to do it feist. We're going to do that shit first. Now we need 5 more people. We need 5 more people or 1 sponsor. 5 more people or 1 sponsor. We can get it. And then we can get it. To everybody in the chat, we got a monkey in here that wants some attention. So y'all go ahead and get that monkey some attention right now. Beano Nation, press a 1 in the chat if Angryman occasionally dyes his beard and then sometimes let it go gray and then dye it again and let it go gray long before I knew who the fuck Mont was. Press a 1 in the chat if that's true. You see all those 1s? Pat 123. See, Pat 123 is another one of those cocksuckers that be in the chat room on my nutsack when I go over to Trey's panel. That's another one of them individuals that be in the chat room with some shit to say about me 24/7, like they like the taste of my Johnson. That's another one. Be in the chat room, angry man this, angry man that, angry man this, angry man that. Yo, have y'all ever seen anybody that wasn't a superstar celebrity that gets as much hate as I do? Have y'all ever seen that? You would think I was damn near worth $1 billion the way these niggas be hating on me. Somebody said maybe it's preconceived notions based on your name. Or maybe it's because I'm a fly ass nigga that get money and everything else I want in fucking life. And the niggas that's hating on me is mad because they don't get nothing they want out of life. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's that. Shout out to my man Gemini. Gemini said that's been debunked. The name has nothing to do with it. See, here's the reality, and this goes to Pat. This goes to Pat 123 and Mont. Whether I dye my beard or not, I'm still a handsome ass nigga. I'm still a get money nigga. I'm still a fly ass, charismatic, shit talking, joke telling, Renaissance man, nigga. Hey, yo, shout out to my man Forever Studios for being a sponsor of the show, as always.
That's that Beano energy.
Oh, it's a lot better than we usually do.
All right, chums up.
Ready, guys?
Let's do this. Leroy Dragons!
Shout out to Forever Studios showing love. Appreciate you, bro. He said, blessings, talk your talk. Appreciate you, fam. Let's get to this Beano roll call so we can kick this shit off right.
Beano check. If you're in the building, show your work. Drop 20 on the Super Chat or Cash app.
Yeah, so this is the same this is the same routine with me, right? I'll dye my beard. And see, here's the thing. My shit grow fast. My shit grow fast. Niggas don't even realize this, but I have to trim my shit just about every day. If I didn't trim my shit every day, my shit would be down here. So my shit grow fast as hell. My facial hair grows fast, right? So once the new growth start coming in, I start getting the salt and pepper again. And sometimes I just don't feel like dyeing the shit. So I just let it go. And then it get gray or whatever because, you know, I started getting gray hairs when I was in my 20s. So I you know, genetically, that's what it is with my family. My father got gray hair early. He had salt and pepper early, right? So, you know, sometimes I'll be like, I don't feel like dying, and I just leave it alone. Now, like I've said so many times before to these punk ass niggas in here, these mentally challenged niggas, right? If I was insecure about it, you would have never seen it gray. Because I clearly have the ability to dye it. So if I was insecure about the shit, you would never see it gray. But you see it gray because I don't give a fuck. And then when I feel like dyeing it, I'm like, you know what? I feel like dyeing my shit. I feel like getting that fresh young look. And so I dye it. Plus, it give you bitch ass niggas something to talk about. Man, you see Angryman's hair? You see Angryman's beard gray, man? Yo, his beard is gray. Then when I died, niggas like, yo, you see Angryman dyed his beard? Sometimes I dyed and let it be red. You see niggas, you see Angryman beard is red? You know why y'all talk like that? Because y'all gossip like bitches. Y'all gossip like bitches. The fact that y'all be that focused on another man's looks is what's amazing to me. Y'all be heavily focused on another man's looks. White Ranger said, what do you use to dye it? Well, here's the thing. I can't use regular hair dye because I'm allergic to regular hair dye. So any of you dudes, if you want to dye your hair and you're allergic to regular hair dye, you have to use henna powder and indigo powder. So what you do is you take the henna powder and you put it in a dye bowl. You pour a little bit of water in it and you make a paste and you put it on your beard. And what it does is it makes the gray hair, it makes the gray follicles red. It make it red first, right? It makes it red first. And you put that on there, you leave that on there for 45 minutes. If you really want to make it, you got to put something on it. Like you could put like some saran wrap on it to keep it on there so to have more of an effect, right? You do that for 45 minutes. Then after the 45 minutes is over, you rinse it out. And once you rinse it out, all of the gray is going to look red. It's going to look like a orangish red, right? And then you take the indigo powder and you put that in the bowl and you put some lemon juice in there and some water. You put equal lemon juice, equal water in there, right? Because you need the acid from the lemon juice, right? So you mix that into a paste. That paste is going to be green, right? The henna paste looks brown, but it makes the gray red. Because really, you can't just try to make the gray dark naturally. you gotta turn it red first, right? So when you take the indigo paste that has the water and the lemon juice in it, you put that on there and you let that stay on there for 45 minutes as well. Then you rinse that out. Once you rinse that out, it's gonna have like a dark brown, greenish tint to it, right? But don't worry about the green tint. That goes away, right? So in fact, it goes away the first night. Like the first night that you sleep, the next morning it just looks like dark brown, right? Looks like a really dark brown or whatever, right? But that's a natural way to do it if you're allergic to dyes. Because a lot of dyes, they have a lot of freaking additives into it that, are harmful. And they can make you, if you're allergic to it, they can really fuck you up. So what I do is I do that process, but then after that process, I take beard shampoo and I shampoo it and rinse it again to get the excess color out of it. And then I use because you use the lemon juice that has acid in it, you definitely want to use a beard conditioner. So then you use a beard conditioner, you put that in there, you let that sit for a while, and then you rinse that out. And once you rinse that out, I suggest you use some product like uh what is that damn product that I use? Hold on, I can tell you exactly what I use. You use this to moisturize it. Okay, so this is what I use to moisturize it, right? So I use the full beard detangler to moisturize it. And then I also use the Shea Moisture beard balm. You feel me? No, I don't use Cremo because Cremo is too greasy. I don't use Cremo because it's too greasy. In my opinion, it's a little too greasy or whatever, right? But that's what I use. Also, here's another thing that y'all can get if you got a beard. Get you one of these right here. Get you the wet Willie's beard straightener. Get that shit too. K Clarity said, "Dang, I didn't know beards took that much work to care for." Well, if you well, for guys, if they want their shit to look nice, if they want their shit to look nice, they're gonna have to do all of that. If they want their shit to look nice and grow healthy and all of that shit, but let's get to these This Beano roll call. Shout out to Jenny. Said, hey, AM, showing some love and support. I appreciate you, Jenny.
That's that Beano energy.
Appreciate that love. Shout out to Habat Allah. Said, turning into AM in the AM from the beach, having my coffee and watching the sun come up. It's 7:30 a.m. here in beautiful Hawaii. Peace to you, my good brother. And no, you look nowhere near 60. Black don't crack. Appreciate you, bro.
That's that Beano energy.
See, shout out to Young Illuminati in the building.
That's that Beano energy.
See, shout out to A Bit of Smart. Said, I would venture to say we Beanos have only known all these other panelists as long as you have, because we follow you over there, AM, especially Mont. Just lame for men is applied rectally. Maybe beans can help Mont out. Oh, that's funny.
That's that Beano energy.
That's funny right there, bro. I ain't even gonna front. That's funny. Let's see who else we got. Shout out to James. He said, for the stream.
That's that Beano energy.
Shout out to INP. He said, salute to the light-skinned God, AM. Shout out to Steve. He said, supporting the shoe.
That's that Beano energy.
See if we got any more Beanos. Nope, that's it. Shout out to everybody that participated in the Beano roll call. I definitely appreciate y'all. So let's get into this topic. So, y'all already know whenever I take a topic seriously, I take the time to sit down and write out my thoughts. You feel me? So, I have a whole thesis. I guess you could call it a de facto thesis for this particular topic, because this topic was crazy, in my opinion. Soon as I heard the women say it, I was like, oh my God, that's actually a show topic, right? So, these women will have us believe that not only do they meet the expectations of men nowadays, but that they exceed the expectations. So, I was on a panel the other night. I was on Trey the Truth Teller's panel the other night, where the women were asked if they meet men's expectations. Do they believe women meet the expectations of men? Every single woman on the panel said women don't just meet the expectations of men, they exceed them. I need y'all to let that sizzle in your spirit for a second. Not we meet them, not most of us do our part. Exceed, surpass, go above and beyond. Yes, the modern women, they believe they exceed the expectations of men. These chicks right here. These chicks right here. Chicks like this right here believe they exceed expectations. right? Can y'all believe that? I want y'all to think about that for a second. Just let that sink in for a second. Now, look, don't get me wrong. I'm going to go ahead and give my disclaimer because you know niggas love to say Angryman hates women. Let me give my disclaimer. I am more than sure there is a portion of women out here that are already taken, that are already married, that do all of the things that their husbands expected, right? I'm sure they exist. I'm sure they exist because I'm not a person that believes that. I don't believe all or nothing. I don't believe in that, right? But if we were to really have a conversation about this, and we were to say whether or not modern women on average, the average modern woman meets or exceeds the expectations of men, we know this is bullshit. We know that they don't. Because if they did, they wouldn't have been running to Kevin Samuel's channel when he was alive trying to get advice on how to step their game up so they could get a man. Am I wrong? If they believe they exceeded men's expectations, in fact, let me rephrase that because I think they do believe it. I think they believe it. I think they've been lying to themselves and to each other for so long that they actually believe that bullshit. I think they believe it. And I need you to keep in mind, that's not confidence. To those ladies that operate and move like that and think like that, it's not confidence, it's delusion. You're being delusional. And the gap between what you think you're offering and what men actually want is the entire reason modern relationships don't work. It's the entire reason that the dating market is trash. The dating pool is trash because what you think you have to offer, the gap between what you think you have to offer and what men actually want is the size of the Grand Canyon. And I seen a video last night. It's not that women don't know what men want. They refuse to accept it. They refuse to accept it. They know what men want. They just think that they have more bargaining chips than they actually have. They think that when it comes to the table, the negotiating table, they think they have more leverage. And why do they think they have more leverage? Because they think that that box between their legs is the ultimate. Think about it like this. And I think Patrice O'Neal said this before. They think they have more leverage because they try to hold the box hostage. So when they come to the negotiating table, they say, I want this, and this. And the man says, well, what do you bring to the table? And they look at the man like he's crazy. And they say, what do you mean? What do I bring to the table? And that's when they present the box. They got the box with the gun to the box's head. Like, yeah, you gonna give me what I want, or you ain't never gonna see this MF again. And see, the only way this premise works is if the man prioritizes box over everything else. That's the only way it works. That's the only way it works, right? So today, I'm going to do a walkthrough what men actually expect from a wife. The real list. The one men have agreed on across every culture for thousands of years, and measure modern women against it. I'm going to say that again. Today, we're going to walk through men's expectations, what men actually expect from a wife, the real list, the ones that men have agreed on across every culture for thousands of years, and we're going to measure it against modern women and see how they measure up. Do y'all think they're going to measure up? So let's start with what men actually want. What do men actually want? Now, if you ask most women this, they don't really know the answer. Now, some of them, this is the crazy part. This is the crazy part. When I first came to YouTube, if you asked women what men want, they didn't have a damn clue. When I first came to YouTube, if you were on a panel with women and you asked them, so what does a man want? And they'd be like, they don't know. Or is it that they just don't care? Because me personally, I don't think it's a matter of them not knowing. I think it's a matter of them not giving a damn. Because, again, they got the hostage. They don't have to care. I got these hostages. I don't give a damn what you want. It's about what I want, right? But now that dudes have been on the internet complaining, talking shit, doing dissertations, giving soliloquies, now they have an idea of what men want. So now, today in 2026, if you ask the average woman online, what does a man want? She'll rattle off a list of things that men have said over the past 10 years online, but none of the things that she's going to list are things she's willing to do. None of it. And you want to know what's crazy? The shit that they want us to do is the same list it's always been. It's the same list. They've been expecting the same shit out of us forever. You feel me? And men know that if they want the woman they want, they know they gotta meet the items on that list. See, men aren't delusional about this. A man knows if you want to have a bad chick, there's certain things you gotta check off on your list. If you're a dude that wants a bad chick, you gotta be handsome, tall, charismatic. You got to have money. You got to be a protect. There's a bunch of shit you got to have. Now, some of those things, you could be missing a couple of those items, but some of those things you got to have. Right? You don't necessarily got to be handsome. And you don't necessarily have to have money. You can be handsome and not have money and still get women. You could be ugly and have money and still get women. The only thing on that list, the only thing on the list that I would say that you have to have, and if you don't have this, you're going to catch hell. You got to have a pipe game. You got to be, you can't be lacking in that department. That's the only thing I would say. If you lacking in the pipe laying department, you gonna have problems. You have trouble. Doesn't matter how much money you got, doesn't matter how handsome you are, doesn't matter what type of protector you are, none of that shit matters. If you lacking in the pipe laying department, you're gonna have all kinds of problems, especially when you're dealing with black women. That's just the reality. You're gonna be the laughing stock of everything, right? So men know what we have to be. We know what we have to be, and we know what we have to have. And if we don't have those things, we understand why we'll end up with a raggedy bitch. We understand this. How many of you guys in here know a guy that's with a raggedy, trifling, unattractive, ill-mannered, goofy broad? But you know for a fact in your mind that nigga accepts that shit because he broke, he ain't got no money, he ain't got no prospects of getting no damn money, he doesn't have any ambition, he's just accepted it. He's just like, you know what, I ain't shit, so I don't expect to get a top-notch chick. How many of y'all know a guy like that? I know a few guys like that. And that's because men live in reality. Men live in reality. Now, on the flip side of that, women don't live in reality. Because the chick that he's with, keep this in mind, he's with this chick in all her raggediness because he knows that he's raggedy. He knows that he doesn't have the bread or the ambition or the resources or any of the things that women want to get a better chick. He knows this. But in her mind, she thinks she can do better. I'm going to say that again. In her mind, she thinks she can do better than him. This is where the delusion comes in. Now, why does this delusion exist? This delusion exists because there ain't no such thing as a woman that thinks she's raggedy. I'm going to say that again. There is no such thing as a woman in the modern era that thinks she's raggedy. There's plenty of dudes that think they ain't shit. There's plenty of guys out here that know in their mind. They'll say, yo, I ain't shit. There's guys out here that know they ain't got it going on. There's guys out here that know they lacking. They know this shit. How do I know this shit? Because I've known guys that was messed up in the game, and we could be outside standing around or whatever, and a chick will pull up in a Mercedes Benz and get out of that Benz and be bad as hell, and a nigga look straight at her and be like, damn, she look good. And you be like, why don't you holler at her? And you'd be like, man, shit, I can't pull her. I gotta step my game up before I can try to approach a shorty like that. There's plenty of guys that because guys live in reality. If a dude see a drop dead gorgeous dime pull up in a freaking Mercedes Benz, hop out of the car with a Louis Vuitton bag or some sort of designer bag, designer shades, looking like new money. If that nigga broke, you know what that nigga gonna do? He gonna say, how you doing, Miss Lady? And that's it. He ain't asking for that number. He ain't setting himself up for that bullshit. He may even make excuses for it. He may say, yo, she too high maintenance. Or she probably got a man. But a raggedy, bucket mouth, sea donkey face having, trifling, need a fill in, 6 month sew in wearing, caked up makeup having broad, will try to holler at an NBA basketball player just because she got a fat ass. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. You got chicks online that be posing in they little skimpy outfits because they got a slim waist and a big behind. They be posing and shit and be turned around showing they behind to the camera, and then they turn around and they look like Danny Glover in the face. And you can't tell them they ain't fly. You can't tell them they ain't fly. That's the reason why they go and get the contour makeup and get all of the makeup, because you got a lot of undercover Danny Glovers running around here. And you ain't gonna know she looked like Danny Glover until you wake up the next morning and roll over and you looking at Lethal Weapon. You like, holy shit. Undercover Danny Glover. She in the damn bathroom getting ready to go out with her homegirls. She in the bathroom putting on the makeup talking about, I'm too old for this shit. Nah, you too ugly for this shit. Let's keep it real. But there's no such thing. There's no such thing as a woman in the modern era that lives in reality, that understands that she has a limitation on what she could do. Look, I got news for you. There's women out here that don't want to be side chicks, and the reality is you only qualify to be a side chick. There's levels to this shit. There are women that qualify for being wives. Right? So look, here's the categories. The top category is kept woman. That's the top category. That's the category where a woman marries a dude and she's so damn awesome that nigga will pay for everything, will shower her with gifts, will give her whatever she wants. That's the top category. She ain't got to lift a finger. She ain't got to do nothing she don't want to do. The next category is wife. It's just regular wife, right? This is a woman that's a good enough woman to where somebody wants to marry her. Now, she's not a kept woman because she might have to work. She might have to pitch in on the bills or whatever, but she has a fairly decent marriage. She's got a good man. You know, they enjoy each other's time and all of that good shit. You got that category, right? Then the third category you got is relationship. You know, the shacking up relationship. This is when you're good enough to live with, but the nigga don't completely trust you. So he's not going to sign no damn paperwork to be attached to you. So that nigga will live with you. He may even have some kids with you, but he ain't going to give you his last name because he know you be on some bullshit. He know the moment he give you his last name, you going to try to come with some goofy shit and try to get him up out of whatever little bit of money he got. Okay? Then, below that, you got the side chick. Now, sometimes the side chick gets confused about who she is. Sometimes the side chick thinks she's a kept woman. And the reason why is because sometimes the nigga will pay the rent for the side chick's crib. Sometimes the nigga will pay the phone bill of the side chick. Sometimes he'll help her with her car note, all of that shit. And what you got to understand, if you in that situation, you're not a kept woman. You're a side chick. The only reason he's helping you with them bills is because he's trying to make sure you continue to have a place so that when he leaves his house to come kick it with you, he ain't got to get no hotel room. He's trying to make sure your phone is on so that he can call you whenever he needs you. He's trying to make sure your car is working. He's trying to make sure that you got a roof over your head because he needs somebody somewhere where he can chill and get the hell away from his wife. The reason we know you're not a kept woman, because if you was a kept woman, he would divorce his wife, kick her ass all the way to the curb, and then move you in and then be giving you everything. Okay? But he's not leaving his wife for you. That means you're a side piece. You're a side chick. And then below that, you got the jump off. You got the jump off. In the jump off situation, the dude does not care if you got a crib. He doesn't care if you got a car. He don't care what he will smash you at the park on the freaking picnic tables at the park. He don't care. He'll pull over in a vacant lot and bend you over the hood of the car. He don't give a shit. You're a jump off. You're not even good enough to where he wants to be seen in public with you. That's why every time he hits you up, it's always nighttime because he's trying to deal with you under the cover of night. Okay? You are a jump off. You're a jump off. And then below that, you have the women who sell box. That's the lowest of the low. That's the lowest of the low. That's the lowest of the low because you're basically renting out your private parts for male enjoyment. Right? Now, the problem with the society we live in, right, is women refuse to acknowledge that hierarchy. And the reason why is because they are terrified at knowing what category they fit into. And the reason why is because all women want to be the kept woman. This is why they be online all the time talking about some, nigga, you talking about you don't want to spend no money. Just say you broke. Nigga gonna come to me while I'm at the gas station talking about what's my number. My number is 40 on pump 2. All of these women want to be the kept woman, but they don't want to operate the way they need to operate in order for a man to view them that way. Because all of these categories that I'm talking about, the only way that the only person that is the arbiter of which category you fit into is the man that's interested in you. And I got news for you. We know which category to put you in the moment we meet you. We know which category to put you in the moment we meet you. We know whether you're a jump off or a baby mama or a wife or a kept woman. We know that. We know that. We know which one you are. And see, the reality is this. Every choice you make as a woman is what leads to you being put in one of those categories. Every choice you make. Because I got news for you. A dude is not going to put a wife in the jump off category. And you know why? How many of y'all know why a dude cannot put a wife in the jump off category? How many of y'all know why a guy cannot put a wife in the jump off category? Exactly, Erica. Exactly. Because she's not going to allow that man to engage in jump off activities with her. She's not going to allow that man to engage in jump off activities with her. So when he pulls up to the spot and he's talking about bending her over the hood of the car, she's going to be like, ew, I don't think so. Nope, we're not doing that. She's not going for it. She's not going for it. She's not going for that shit. She got too much respect for herself. She got too much respect for herself. It's like Lloyd Banks said in one of them songs. He was like, yo, but I can't blame her for how mama raised her. That's how I operated. That's how I operate. When I was a young man and I was in my teens, you know what I'm saying? And I linked up with a chick. If I was trying to engage in jump off activities and that woman didn't want to engage in jump off activities, I didn't get mad at her. I just knew, okay, you know what? I need to leave her alone because I'm not looking for a wife, but she's looking for a husband. So if I know if I know that I'm not looking for a wife, but I can tell from her demeanor and the way she's behaving that she's looking for a husband and she's looking for something serious, I got to cut that short. I'm not going to play with her. I'm not going to play with that woman. Because if I play with that woman, I'm going to ruin her for her potential husband. Because there's a guy out here that's looking for a wife. And if I play games with her, when he encounter her, she's going to be jaded. She's going to be, you know, messed up from that bad experience of me pretending that I want her as a wife just to, you know, kick it with her and shit. And then it never turns into nothing. That make women evil. You feel me? So you can't blame a woman for how she was raised. If she was raised properly and you just looking for you know, wham bam thank you ma'am, leave her the hell alone. There's plenty of wham bam thank you ma'ams out here. You feel me? But what do men actually want is the question. What do men actually want? What men actually want is a traditional wife. Now, keep in mind, I'm not talking about the dudes that want to be perpetually single. I'm not talking about the dudes that want to play the field. I'm not talking about the dudes that don't want to settle down. I'm talking about the men. I'm talking about the men that, hold on for a second, y'all. Hold on for a second. He trying to troll, so I'm going to let him troll real quick. He said, you see this ninja beard and y'all said bullying don't work. He gonna curse and talk loud and say it wasn't me though. My bullying a thankless job. Beano Nation, do me a favor. Please educate Mont on Angryman's beard dyeing habits. Please educate Mont on Angryman's beard dyeing habits, please. Please let this nigga know in the chat. Angryman been dyeing his beard and letting it go gray and dyeing it and letting it go gray. Like, bro, you not as important as you think you are, my nigga. Now, you did put your foot in your mouth when you said, one, how much outside pussy do you get? You showed everybody how immature you are. And then two, when you said Angryman looks 60 years old, you made yourself look like a complete jackass. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying. So, what do men actually want? The men that women claim are good men, the men that actually want to be married, they want traditional wives. So let's be clear about what men's expectations really are, because modern women have built a fantasy version where men want what they happen to be offering, right? Crocodile Tears said Mont must be a newbie. Yeah, he's definitely a newbie. He's definitely a newbie. Shout out to Dominique, said it has nothing to do with bullying at the Angryman. Nobody can bully you to do anything, and that's on Beano. That's facts. That's pure facts. But in his mind, in his little world, he thinks, oh, Angryman dyed his beard because I said something about it. How many shows before that instance happened? before I even said anything, before I was even on that panel the other night when he said that goofy shit, how many shows did y'all see me on where I'm looking at the camera and I'm like, yeah, I think it's about time to dye the beard again? Press 1 if y'all heard me say that numerous times before this Life Jittins, it must be nice face ass nigga said something. Exactly. Exactly. So, getting back to what I was saying. So, like I said, my nigga, you can talk as much shit as you want to talk as long as you want to talk it. Especially if you're going to drop $5 every time you do it. You can talk as much shit as you want to talk, Mont, especially if you dropping 5 every time you do it. Say some shit 100 more times. But like I was saying, because you're not going to derail me from this topic. You're not going to derail me from this topic as much as you're trying to. So like I said, men want a traditional wife. That's it. That's the assignment. It hasn't changed. It's the same shit that it's been forever. It's the same shit. Nothing is different. Matter of fact, let me ask all of the fellas in here right now. Has what men want from women changed? Has it changed at all? In fact, all of the guys that come to the internet and say what men want, right? It's the same shit men been wanting since before they came to the internet to talk about it. It's the same exact shit. It's not different. So what are the things that a man wants? I'm going to repeat it here so the women can hear it. Matter of fact, press a 1 if you're a woman and you want to hear this list. Press a 1 in the chat. He said, pay the Angryman beer tax, Mont. Oh my God. That's funny. The beer tax. So this is the list. 1, submits to her husband's leadership. That's number 1. He said 5 more for the Beijing fund. Well, first of all, Beijing don't cost but $5, and I'm allergic to that shit, nigga. So no. He said, hey, yo, Be No Nation, put a 1 in the chat if you want me to take your boy out of this headlock. This nigga really think he got me in a hit? This nigga, yo, Mont, bro, this is sad, fam. You might want to stop while you're ahead, broski. You might want to stop while you're ahead. Be No Nation, put a 2 in the chat if Mont is embarrassing himself. Put a 2 in the chat if Mont is embarrassing himself. Like, I'm trying to do the show and this nigga's trying to get my attention. You see them twos, man? What did Al Bundy say when Marcy stood up there and she was like, let's be clear, you men need us more than we need you. And all of the dudes was like, boo, boo. And Al said, you're in no man's land now, baby. Hey, Mont, you in Beano Nation land now, homie. So you think you about to come over here and crack some jokes and that shit is going to be received well? Nigga, you playing yourself. You in the wrong place for that shit, my nigga. You got to go back to Montland for that bullshit, nigga, if Montland even exists, my nigga. Go tell them jokes to yourself in the mirror. Because them shits ain't going to fly over here. You in the wrong place for that shit, my nigga. Look, he's still desperate. Look, my nigga. Stop dropping fives and saying goofy shit. Just go ahead and be a sponsor. Just go ahead and drop the hundo and just say, I don't like Angryman. That's all you got to do. You ain't got to do all that extra shit, bro. Just drop the hundo one time for the one time and just say, I don't like Angryman. Just do that, nigga, so we can get back to the show. Just do that so we can get back to the show, nigga. Matter of fact, you know what? Beano Nation, tell him he's pretty. That's what he wants. He wants some attention. Beano Nation, tell a nigga he pretty. Tell him he pretty so he'll go back to what he doing. Tell a nigga he pretty. Tell that nigga he pretty. So he'll go back to whatever the hell he doing over there, man. Yo, from now on, I'm calling you Susan, nigga. From now on, I'm calling you Susan. Stop coming over here, disrupting the show, Susan. You got some bread to bake, some shopping to do or something, nigga? So like I said, number one is submits to her husband's leadership. Not as a slave, but as a wife, a companion who recognizes the household needs one head and trusts him to lead it. That's the first thing. That's the first thing. Number one is submits to her husband, not as a slave, but as a companion who recognizes the household needs one head and trusts him to lead it. So that's number one. Number two, cooks. We talking about real meals consistently and as an act of love and care for the family. So that's number two. Number three, cleans and maintains the home, keeps the household a place of peace, not a war zone. Keeps the household a place of peace and not a war zone. Number 4, raises the children. Present, hands-on, teaching them values and being there when they need her, not outsourcing motherhood to daycare and things of that nature. 5, saves herself for marriage. Comes to her husband as a wife, not as the community property she became before she met him. Right? Six is loyal, supportive, and feminine. Feeds his peace, builds him up, makes the home a place he wants to come home to. That's my list. That's my list. That is the list. It's been the list across every functioning culture in human history. This has been the list. Now, with what I just said, are women exceeding those expectations? Based on what I just said, can we honestly say that women are exceeding those expectations? No, they're not even meeting those expectations. They're not even meeting those expectations, if we're being honest. So here's the other question. If they're not meeting those expectations, what do modern women actually offer? What do modern women actually offer? What do they offer? I'm going to tell you what. Hold on. Vanna Ray said, all women are black women. No, I'm talking about women in general. I'm talking about women in general. When I say modern women, so let's be clear about this. When I say modern women, I'm talking about westernized, Americanized women. So that includes any women in America that operate under this sort of feminist, gynocentric type of thing. You feel what I'm saying? Let's see. Jenny said, but what if the woman has to work? That makes a difference in terms of daycare. Well, yeah, I mean, look, I'm just speaking in general. There's always going to be different circumstances for each particular couple. You know what I'm saying? There's always going to be there's always going to be there's always going to be like particular circumstances for each individual couple. You know what I'm saying? But what are they offering? Let's compare what modern women actually bring to the table. What are they actually bringing to the table? They don't cook because they say they don't have time, or they say that's not their thing, right? They don't cook because they say they either don't have time or that's just not their thing. They just don't like cooking or whatever, right? They don't clean. They'll say, we'll split it 50-50. Or they'll say, well, we should hire a maid. Let's hire a maid, right? They don't really want to raise the children anymore. They want the daycare to raise them, or the school, or the iPad. Like, motherhood is a phase now. It's not a calling. It's an inconvenience, right? It's an inconvenience. You feel me? They don't want to submit. They want to co-lead, which means lead, because two people can't drive a car at the same time, right? Two people cannot drive a car at the same time. They don't want to save themselves for marriage. Most of them are running double-digit body counts before the age of 25, which is crazy, which is absolutely ridiculous. They don't make the home peaceful. They bring the chaos from the streets and the internet and their job right into the household. Right into the household. So if the assignment is to be a traditional wife, and modern women are checking 0 boxes on the list, how are they exceeding? How are they exceeding? What are they doing that's exceeding men's expectations? What they're doing is they're offering a substitution, right? They replaced our list with their own list. So the list that we came up with, they said, you know, the hell with that list. The hell with that list. We got our own list. You feel what I'm saying? We got our own list. So basically what the trick is, and this is the psyop, modern women didn't rise to meet those expectations that we have as men. They rewrote the test and then graded themselves on the new version. Okay, so they rewrote it. This is everything we talk about when we talk about them breaking the social contract. Here are the new expectations they invented. 1, a degree. I have a master's. Congratulations. That's an expectation men put on themselves. Men brag about credentials because credentials translate to provision. Women bragging about degrees is like men bragging about being good with kids. You took the other team's metric and tried to make it yours. Why would a man care about your degrees when your degrees is going to get you a good paying job that you're not going to use to take care of a man? We don't even expect that. So why would we care? We don't care about you having a degree. If you have one, cool, that's nice. But that does not translate into something that we need, right? Their career, same thing. A career is what a man used to qualify himself for a wife. A woman with a career is basically, or a woman telling a guy about her career is basically giving him the qualifications of a man, not the qualifications of a wife. She's giving you a husband's resume. How does that benefit you? How does that benefit you? It doesn't. What's another thing on their list? So you got a degree, you got a career, independence. They'll say, I don't need a man. Cool. But you're not offering anything a man needs either. A wife is supposed to be a companion, not a separate operating system that occasionally participates. That's not the way that works, right? Next thing is personality. I'm a boss. I'm a queen. I'm that girl. Those are titles that you gave yourself. Nobody crowned you. Nobody said, oh, you're a queen because of this, or you that girl because of this, or you a boss because of this. All this is feminism that has trained you to brag the way a man brags. And then you wonder why, when you get into interactions with men, it's off-putting. Because if you come to dinner and we're having a conversation and one of the first things that comes out of your mouth is that you don't need a man, then why are we even on a date? What's the purpose of us even talking to each other? That's like if somebody is hiring and they headhunting, looking for somebody to fill a position, and the very first thing they say during the interview process is, well, I don't need a CFO. Okay, then why are you pursuing me to be your CFO? You don't need one. What's the entire point of this shit? See, you cannot exist in a society where you desire a man and you want him to be able to do traditional things like provide, protect, and all of those different things when you've adopted an ideology that is basically the ideology of hating men and proving to men that you don't need them. That's what feminism is. Feminism is an ideology that basically tries to prove that women don't need men. So if that's your ideology, why are you even pursuing the prospect of being in a relationship with a man? That makes absolutely no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. They took the things that men are supposed to bring to the table, provision, credentials, independence, status, and started waving them in men's faces like trophies, expecting to be rewarded. You're not impressing men when you do that. You're alienating them. And then what makes it worse, some of you will have the nerve to say, oh, he's just intimidated by me. He's not intimidated by you. He's put off by you because he's looking for a wife. He's not looking for a husband. And it's funny because nowadays when you see men doing certain things that women don't like, if a man does anything that displays female traits, if a man wants to ride in the passenger seat of the car, oh, you want to be a passenger princess. If a man says some crazy shit like he wants to stay home and raise the kids, you'll say, oh, that's not masculine. So you can sit there and look at a man, and if he displays any type of female traits, that's a knock against him. You'll say, oh, that's not what men do, while simultaneously bragging about all of the things that a man does. So why is it a man operating in feminine energy is wrong and off-putting to you, But you operating in masculine energy, you think it's supposed to be rewarded. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense. But this is what we're dealing with. And then we got the body count situation, right? Now, the body count situation has been a hot topic in these internet spaces. In fact, it's been a topic that is taboo. The moment you start talking about body count on a show or a panel, women instantly get offended. They instantly get offended. But why? Why are you so offended? If you truly believe that having a body count is not wrong, you shouldn't be offended when somebody brings it up. But we know why you're offended. You're offended because you know it's wrong to have a high body count. You know that. You know that. See, this is the topic that nobody wants to talk about. Men want a wife who has not been passed around. Y'all can get offended by that, but it's the truth. It's the truth. That's not an opinion. That's not patriarchy. That's not insecurity. That is a near universal preference across every culture, every era, every continent. Men have always wanted a wife who comes to them innocent, fresh, emotionally, psychologically, and physically. You got chicks out here that don't even pretend to wait anymore. Sexually active by 16. We ain't even gonna talk about what go on in college. And then after they done did all of that, after they done engaged in all of those exploits, will have a nerve to rattle off a list of demands and expectations of what a man is supposed to be. When I was on that panel that night, I said this very clearly. You can't say that you're exceeding expectations. You can't even say you're meeting expectations because most of you have already been with men before you found your husband, before you got married. And we want to act like we want to act like that's not a thing. We want to act like all of a sudden things are different. How you gonna tell everybody that you're exceeding men's expectations when you fail the most basic, most ancient, most consistent expectation men have had for a wife? That she be his and his only. How? How can you say it with a straight face? Men have always known this. Every single culture puts a value on chastity for a reason. It wasn't oppression. It was the recognition that a woman who has been with many men has been emotionally and psychologically reshaped by every one of them. And the man who marries her is going to have to deal with all of that. Are y'all with me so far? Are y'all with me so far? Am I losing anybody? So here's an even bigger question. If the men know all of this, if the men been knowing all of this, the question now becomes, why did men stop saying it out loud? Why did men stop saying it out loud? See, here's the reality, and this is the men's fault. This is the men's fault. We cannot blame the women for this, not this part of it. When it comes to this part of it, this is on us and nobody else. The reason why women got confused about the expectations is because modern men stopped enforcing them. There are too many men out here that treat women who are not their wives like their wives. There are too many men out here that provide protection, provision, and all of these different things to women who don't even meet the basic expectations of men. In other words, modern men have been settling for a very long time. For a very long time. And we're all guilty of the shit. All of us. All of us. And every single time a man who is single, who doesn't have children, says, you know what? I want a woman that hasn't been with anybody else, and I want my woman to live up to this, and this in order for me to marry her. All of us talk shit to that man. All of us tell that man he's unrealistic. All of us tell that man he's tripping. All of us tell that man that he's not going to be able to get that. We as men have inadvertently lowered the bar by accepting certain things. It's not that men changed what we want. It's that we stopped saying it because the dating pool is so polluted that holding the line now means staying single. Society shames men who want a traditional wife as being patriarchal or an incel. The legal system, the social pressure, and the marketplace all punish men who try to hold women to the old standard. And like I said, some men compromise. We accept relationships with women who don't meet the real list because the real list is almost impossible to find. But you need to keep in mind, accepting is not wanting. Settling is not exceeding. A man marrying a woman with a degree, a career, and a body count he's trying not to think about isn't doing it because she exceeded his expectation. He's doing it because she's the best option available in a broken market. And for the women to be running around saying they exceed expectations, you're delusional. And I can say this as a man because I'm still expected to do what men have always done. In fact, all of the women out here, when they talk about the type of man they want, the list that they rattle off is the same list. So the women and society is still enforcing the list that applies to men. And if you don't live up to that list, they want to take away your manhood. They want to say you're not a real man. But on the flip side, when women don't meet the list that they have, no one takes away their womanhood. No one says, "Oh, you're not a real woman because you don't meet these traditional standards." So they get to get away with it. They get to get away with it. But if we had our way, if we could press a button and reset everything, modern women's stat sheet would not be acceptable to the overwhelming majority of us. The truth is, most of you wouldn't be married. Now, where does the confusion come from? The confusion comes from the fact that they mistook acceptance for approval. Just because men have accepted certain things, they think we approve of it. That's why you'll hear women say stuff like, well, if you men don't like it, why y'all dealing with the women? Why y'all having kids with the women? Why y'all marrying these women? Because men have accepted it. But that doesn't mean they approve of it. They just get tired of fighting. They get tired of arguing. Right? Modern women see men marrying career women with bodies and degrees and assume that's what men were looking for. It's not. That's what men settled for. There's a difference between the man who orders the steak he wanted and the man who orders the only thing left on the menu. Just because he ordered the one thing that was left on the menu doesn't mean he didn't want steak. The fact that you got chosen doesn't mean you exceeded expectations. It means you were available, and a man decided to make peace with the gap between what he wanted and what was offered. And I know that's some cold shit to hear, but look, it's the truth. It's the truth. It's the cold-blooded truth. The day a real traditional woman walks into the room, every one of those men will start comparing. And most of them will realize what they actually wanted was never what they ended up with. And look, I'm not trying to say that women have to be perfect. I'm not trying to say that at all. Everybody got their shit with them. Everybody got their issues, both men and women. But you can't be out here saying you exceed everybody's expectations. And keep in mind, when they ask those women that question, did they meet men's expectations? All of those women, they didn't just say we exceed their expectations. They said typically all women exceed men's expectations. This is what they said. I would pull the video up, but I don't feel like looking for it. But that's what they said. They said that all women on average exceed men's expectations. This is how long they've been lying to each other. This is how long they've been drinking their own Kool-Aid. This is how long they've been full of shit. So what's the verdict? Modern women didn't exceed men's expectations. They didn't even meet them. They took a different test, graded themselves an A+, and now they're confused about why men aren't lining up to marry them in the numbers they expected. Now they're trying to figure out when they go to these singles events why it'll be 100 women at the damn event and 2 men. The reason why there's 100 women at the event is because the women still expect the men to be the men they've always been. They still expect the men to be providers. They still expect the men to be accomplished. They still expect the men to be providers. They still expect the men to do all of the things that we've always traditionally done. The reason there's only 2 men there is because they know out of those 100 women, 0 of them meet our expectations. Zero. Every woman at that event, 9 times out of 10, has been with other men. A lot of those women at that event don't want to cook and clean for no man. They look at it as being oppressive and slavery and shit. Most of those women do not want to submit to a man. Because let's be real about it. Since when has a woman ever had to go to a singles event to get a man? You go to back in the day when women met these expectations, they didn't have trouble finding men. Men was fighting over women back in the day. There are men during the Victorian era that dueled each other over women. That's where they stand back to back with a damn musket one of them old school guns, and they walked so many paces and turned around and shot. A lot of times them duels was over a woman. The expectations haven't changed. The willingness to say them out loud has changed. The market that enforces them has changed. The women trying to meet them have changed. But the expectations haven't changed. The actual scoreboard, same as it's always been: submit, cook, clean, raise children, save yourself for your husband, build a home of peace. That's the list. Anybody telling you the list has changed is lying to you. Anybody bragging about a degree, a career, and her body, her choice, while wondering why she can't find a husband is proof. You don't exceed the expectations. You change the subject, and men notice. We notice the okie doke, and that's the main reason why you see the frustration amongst the men. That's why you see all of these men online complaining, as y'all put it. And that goes for you simping ass dudes that be up here too, talking about, I'm tired of the men coming to the internet complaining. Well, tell the women to tighten up and they'll stop complaining. Because they ain't complaining for nothing. They're complaining for a reason. Men still want high quality women. But women expect men to go above and beyond to be high quality men, only to accept a woman who's not high quality. And that don't even make sense, because at the end of the day, it goes against men's nature. It goes against our natural way of doing things. Men went above and beyond because back then the woman was the prize. Men wanted to get great careers and make plenty of money so that they would be attractive to the best woman. Men didn't go to school and become doctors and lawyers and engineers and get great careers so that they could get with a woman that 10 niggas done been with. A woman that won't even make them a sandwich. A woman that's loud and overbearing and he can't even quiet her down. He can't even get her to chill out. Men didn't go through all of that trouble to get somebody that he could have got if he was broke, that he could have got if he didn't have a career, if he didn't have an education, if he just didn't care about life. And before you say that's not true, let's be real about it. You got women out here that claim to be high quality and claim they want a high quality man, and they all got a story about some bum that they was with. So you got to ask yourself, why was they with a bum in the first place? Why were they with a bum in the first place? That's a legitimate question. So saying that you exceed expectations, it's just not true. It's not true. It's not true, and it hasn't been true for a very long time. And what's even worse is not only do you not meet certain expectations, but you tell the men that they're terrible people if they don't accept it. It's like going to a restaurant and they expect you to pay the same price as you would pay at a 5-star restaurant, but they serving you up some bullshit. They serving you up low quality food that other people have been munching on. You go into that restaurant, the freaking table is rickety. The tablecloth is dirty. The dishes ain't really clean. And when they bring out your plate, they bring you out a burger and fries, and somebody already bit into the burger. And the service is horrible. The burger's cold. Took them forever to bring it out. When they brought it out, they threw it on the table. And you looked at them and said, hey, man, why would I pay all of this money for this? And then they look at you and say, oh, you're a horrible person. You should be happy with what you're getting. Does that make any sense? Doesn't make any sense, man. Because you're expected to dress formally just to get in the restaurant. You're expected to pay a high bill and give a high tip. It doesn't make sense.
It's that time again. We going up. It's time to read the super chats.
Yo, shout out to TJ. He said 2015 Angryman loading. Appreciate you. Shout out to D Murray. He said, thanks for today's stream. Appreciate you, fam.
That's that Beano energy.
Shout out to Bruce. He said, we meet each other. Appreciate you. Let's see. Shout out to IMP. He said, salute to the light-skinned God. Shout out to Kendra. Said, Beano roll call.
That's that Beano energy.
Shout out to Fronte Unido. He said, undercover Danny Glover's Riggs. LOL. Yeah. Shout out to Jim Rat. He said, trying to keep my bread up like my brother, like you, brother. Appreciate you.
That's that Beano energy.
Boy, it's good.
Shout out to D Hale in the building. Appreciate you. Shout out to Vicious for the membership. Shout out to Dark Gohan's son. He said, you're the man, bro. Yeah, so true. Appreciate you. Shout out to Southern Diplomat. He says, salute AM. You calling down the fire and brimstone right now. Shout out to Michael. Appreciate you. Shout out to Mama. Mama said, keep speaking facts. I appreciate you. Shout out to A Bit of Smart. Said, that's right. Pay that Angryman beard tax, Mont. Shout out to A Bit of Smarts again. He said, Mont, keep your AM beard dying fantasy to yourself. Shout out to A Bit of Smarts again. He said, Mont, you would have to have the gift of gab, sir. Shout out to A Bit of Smarts. He said, Reason said, leave his pretty boy Floyd Mont alone. Shout out to Brian. He said, women are not meeting. The worst are the daddy's girls from my experience. Shout out to Zero Fallout. Said, viral stay-at-home dad proved how lazy modern wives are. He homeschooling his kids, cooks from scratch, does home duties on top of traditional man duties. Yeah, and that, look, I said that before. I said there have been times in my life where I didn't have daycare. Me and my kid's mother, we worked different shifts. So I worked at night and she worked during the day. And during the day, I was with the kids. And all of the stuff that women complain about, housework and all of that, they lying. It's not as difficult as they claim it is. It's nowhere near as difficult as they claim it is. But that's the cap. That's how they be running game. Shout out to A Bit of Smart. Said, Mont, I pay bills for 6 peeps. You don't get it. It's okay. Shout out to Brian. He said, the simp community helped with this. That's facts. Shout out to Southern Diplomat. Said, feminism is watered down masculine mindset. Yep. Shout out to Martin. He said, classic episode. Like and share, folks. Shout out to Brian. Said, women rather have work husbands. LOL. Shout out to Zero Fallout. Said, it used to be mediocre people coming together to make things better for next generation. Now women will sacrifice their man and children to escape mediocrity. Main character syndrome is a problem. Shout out to Brian. Said, most already have kids, so expectations really get delusional. Zero Fallout said, women are great miners as well, AM. They have been chipping away at the men's standards for hundreds of years. The magnificent Mount patriarchy is full of holes and barely standing. That's a fact. Shout out to Martin. Says, CGA calls it the bait and switch. I call it the old flippity dippity. I hope today and another day you teach on dealing with the chameleon female. Appreciate you. And shout out to the terrible Ivan. He said, have you seen Dave Ramsey, the super simp? Yeah, I saw that where he said men should submit to their wives. Like, he's lost it. He's lost it. He's lost it. I feel like he probably don't have as much motion as he used to have. So now what he's trying to do is say outrageous stuff to get attention. But with that being said, I'm about to get up out of here. And by the way, Beano Nation, did you see Goofy? Did you see Goofy ass in that super chat where he said you got almost 900,000 subs and barely anybody watching? You got 800 people watching. Well, here's the thing, Mont. When you get almost 900,000 subs, then you can talk shit. When you get an average of 1,000 people watching you every day, then you can talk shit. See, that's the funny thing to me. Every nigga that wants to talk about my channel ain't really got no channel comparatively. Until you get almost 1 million subs, then you can run your mouth. Until this many people consistently want to watch you talk, then you can run your mouth. Because let's be clear about something. Very few people can do what I do. Very few people can turn on a live stream by themselves and just talk they shit and hold the attention of an audience. Let's be clear about that. And by the way, if you think that because I've got 900,000 subs or close to 900,000 subs, I'm supposed to automatically have 5,000 people watching in a live, that just let me know you don't know shit about YouTube. You don't know how YouTube works. So stop embarrassing yourself repeating the same dumb shit that every other nigga repeats that don't even have 2,000 subs. They can't even get 100 people to watch them. But with that being said, shout out to everybody that came through. I appreciate y'all for coming through, showing love, supporting the show as y'all always do. We about to get up out of here, and I'm going to holler at y'all later. Deuces.
The session is closed. The board is dismissed.
I gave you the blueprint, now go build a state. Stop arguing with broke, man, stop debating with fate. We don't negotiate value, we dictate the price. You watch the show for free, I just gave you a slice. But the real ones know where the equity lives. We taking everything, we got nothing to give. The manual is waiting, you know where it's at. This ain't a gamble, it's a guaranteed bet.
Go protect lead, go and plant the seed. Go protect lead, that's the code we need. Go to the side, secure the command. The Angryman channel, the standard of the land.
TheAngrymanChannel.com.
Get the shirt, get the boost.
Start watching, start working. We up.
The session is closed. The board is dismissed.